Yeah, return Pine Village.
Compaction is gonna be incredible. They're gonna have to go down 2 or 3 feet and then build it up to level with the rest of that building.
I never knew what they wanted, they just talked about, they act like they knew what they wanted to do, like. What happens? People come to you and they go, this is what I want, we know what we're doing, and you do it, and then you find out later on, they had no idea what they were doing in the first place.
What is our first order of business? Do we have to elect a new president,
Yeah, chairman.
chairman?
We have a replacement for someone to add to it.
I believe Bill has volunteered to.
Find a person.
Well, I heard you were willing to fill the position.
We don't have to vote on it.
What's beeping? You got somebody on a monitor?
It's
Yeah,
battery in the eye.
yeah, so don't be feel on me tonight.
Oh, great, we just talked about this, and
It sounded like it's coming from over there.
Well,
Oh,
it's
sorry.
picking it up and then it's.
Oh. I keep hearing over here.
Georgia, the last meeting minutes I've got are from September. But I know that we met.
That we did. Minutes. I didn't see.
We did, there's minutes. That you record stuff, Greg.
Well, I didn't think that. I thought Scott was at the last meeting.
I thought I was too, which is odd because I've got everything.
So I didn't even pay any attention.
Wait, let me see if I sent something. to Georgia. Let's see.
Recorders on here.
wait a minute, December 1st.
Yeah, and I was not there. I had because we had the
So I have the
Okay, then,
minutes, but I don't have them. Obviously tonight,
That's fine.
if that's the case.
Copies.
Oh, there it
There
is.
it is. We can read it from there,
You don't want copies?
but yeah, go ahead.
Well, and they may have, I think they did go out and because didn't we cancel the meeting? We were gonna hold a meeting. And I thought I sent minutes out, but then maybe. Yeah, I mean, I thought. As far as I knew, I was up to date. Hmm.
So here's minutes. For town council. So you had a meeting with Tecumseh Lynn, but that wasn't really a meeting. You had, wasn't that in the spring?
Oh, yeah, it was just in.
It's just an info session.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
So the bittersweet development meeting was postponed because of conflicts with several people. And that was not rescheduled because there was not any confirmation of how we wanted to go forward. So it was thought best to just let it lay until there was a better plan afoot.
I have an update on some of that.
So I guess some, for you tonight, choose a leadership. Talk about the candidates for filling the open seat. And discuss the activities that have happened at Quick Trip and other places since then.
Well, I guess I'll approve the minutes from 12/1/2025.
Second, exactly.
Okay.
What happens with the 2-2 tie?
George, it's the Council Land Trust, is that the name of the group?
Yeah.
Okay.
Corporation.
Land Corporation, thank you.
Oh, yeah, I'll just be chairman.
Pardon?
I'll be chairman. Let's just.
Well, I guess
You know.
I
you
guess
go ahead.
we go ahead and nominate. I'd like to nominate Bill Jones as new chairman for the Battleground Redevelopment Commission.
I'll second that.
Okay. There we- Any other?
Any other?
Acclamation.
Do we, as far as, how, this open position, was that a council appointed?
Tried to backtrack that, and I think it was the council. I think that the president's appointments were have stayed in line, but as far as I can tell, it's a council appointment.
Originally, I was, from the council, and we don't have that now. And so then I became a president appointee, I believe.
Yeah.
So we probably need the council.
But they're gonna, if you choose someone that you want to work with, that you feel is qualified and they say yes, they're gonna be okay with that. Otherwise, they would have picked it up right away and it wouldn't have been 4 months in the making.
I talked to Travis a good bit about it, and he was interested. He's more in the, let's call it dirt and make things happen position. But his knowledge is pretty solid. And if we're gonna get Tecumseh moving, having him involved with us as I think has a real asset, because I think he has the ability to push those people to do some things.
Yeah, I honestly don't know anyone.
And who's Travis?
Travis Hunt,
Not familiar.
he's one of the people that's been here with Tecumseh. He's
Okay.
sitting on the far side.
Right.
I've worked with him a couple times on projects. He does excavation.
Yep.
We worked on the trail,
Sure.
going from Philly 3 up to Happy Hollow. But I know, I've worked with him a couple times.
He's a lifelong from this community, and that's a real asset.
Yeah, the only other, I don't know if this come from you all thought, this is, Pat Jarbo, Pat?
Yeah.
He's somebody that's pretty knowledgeable on the local resident as well, I thought if needed, but if Travis is a good choice, I don't see any reason to.
We need to vote on that, or?
Do we have to
Well,
push a recommendation to the town council? Is that what that is?
I think that's a good idea.
So make a motion to recommend Travis Hunt for the open position and redevelopment commission to the town council.
Yes.
Okay,
Is it all in favor?
Second, need a second.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
aye.
Unopposed. Motion passed. I will take care of that at the next. We want to thank Georgia for her excellent work at getting letters out April 15th. And the required documentation submitted to Gateway. To keep everything in line for the TIF. Thank you, George.
Thanks, Jordan. Thank you.
Thank
Second
you.
that.
Thank you very much.
We go over it together.
The group effort, but hey, we appreciate it.
The statute changed a little bit on if you do not meet the deadlines, then 10% of your assessed value goes away.
Oh,
So that's a revenue decrease. So we wanted to make sure we were on time. Georgie, you want to discuss development and quick trips and please.
We know that they're moving the earth around.
yeah, so yay.
A lot bigger area of disturbed earth than you think.
How many
Yes.
years? 4 or 5?
I know since when Michael was on here, he talked about it from his first day, how he can't wait for that.
Right. So the Tipmont has been in touch with them, and Dan Gamick, I think from the Conservancy, has been in touch with them about the plan to widen Northgate. There'd be a travel lane over an area that has the water main right now. So the utilities are involved. I don't know what became of the meeting with John McCoy about the involvement with his property. He was gonna lose a curb cut and entrance
Oh, that's with they're talking about the
for the Phillips
Phillips
66
66.
vacant lot, and he had his architect.
The intersection realignment.
Yeah, the intersection realignment. He had his architect in a meeting with Quick Trip and Butler Fairman to talk about how they were gonna relocate that for him if he wanted to, but I haven't heard that he ever completed that transaction with Quick Trip, so I don't know if he's just gonna lose that capability, because they were under somewhat of a timeline to make change orders with their construction people, and I don't know how that ended up working out. I tried to get some information from Quick Trip week before last and realized the man never had time to respond to me, so I don't know if there's been no change, or he was on vacation, or I don't know.
He was trying to get another curb cut before.
They were offering to put one in for McCoy for the one that he was losing. But he couldn't see where it would benefit him. He just shook his head and said, this isn't working for me, and I'm not sure how it ended up.
A lot of times if you don't put forth something, it goes away. Because
Yeah.
NDOT just they'll just say, well, if you're not coming up with something, we're just not gonna
Well,
give you
it was on Gateway, so it was between him and Quick Trip. NDOT had said he was gonna lose the
Yeah.
exit, so it does hamper him a little bit, yeah. It changes the way he can use that lot.
Well, in their best interest to have an access over to Gateway, because then
We all
it
thought so.
doesn't not hinder that side. That's actually probably the best thing that could happen to him.
We all thought so, but he was gonna have to change his elevation on the building that. he was
Yeah, I mean,
planning.
it takes away his south side of possibly where buildings could be. Now they're being pushed
Yeah,
further to the north
Mhm.
because he can't come in from 43, which actually is a good thing, I think. I mean, they're trying to eliminate everybody coming and going from
Yeah.
all up and down that stretch. I mean, that's what they try to do.
it's just the unfortunate part of development, because you don't develop it because you're like, well, I don't want the first person to develop it, and then all of a sudden you start seeing movement and you're like, I want to do something,
Yeah.
and then it's not what you envision. It's just,
Well, the property up on 52 there, that's all developed with culvers and
oh yeah,
that, they pushed for 3 or 4 years
Yeah.
to get that light, and, you know. The state was very hesitant to let them have that. They finally came up with something, I guess, everyone felt comfortable with.
Well, it's interesting. I read through the email that he sent. Did you forward it over from McCoy? And he seemed not happy about the easement changes or the access, but would have been okay with just getting a check cut to him. He seemed far more concerned about compensation than actual access.
Yeah, I didn't think that the access was the least of the worries.
Right.
I read it. I was like, because there was really no idea of exactly what they wanted to do there.
Well, he wasn't losing, I mean, they weren't doing anything but trying to get an agreement to build up to his line. They
Right.
weren't, that he kept saying they were gonna be on his property and they weren't.
Right.
But it was that access easement so that
Sure.
they could just put the curb in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So is the signal that was an issue for so long, is that
Yeah,
in progress?
it shows up on the county transportation report now. It's on their schedule. I mean, just in the early preliminaries. But it has to be happening, you know, I mean, as they start up their process
Sooner
on
than later.
finalizing, you
Yeah.
know, the site, what they're doing, then it's gonna start affecting the road there. Not that there's any traffic over there, so. Other than parked vehicles.
Yeah.
We haven't heard any more from Benny.
We couldn't throw any money at it. How's the movement on the water and the sewer? That's still possible.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll guide everything, once you have timelines exactly when stuff's gonna go in, I think.
that'll be before 20, that'll be in 26.
Yeah,
Yeah, so it's moving.
so I think you'll see a lot more movement when that happens. Yeah.
We thought they would have for phase 2, I think they were trying to close in on the guaranteed maximum price for the May council meeting.
And they have a route. A definite route coming down to 600 now. Or is that still,
Well, I think that was part of
it's
the,
all the right, figuring out the right of ways?
Did my one down the corner ever contact you? Cause I emailed him and said, hey, give you a call, given his. What he thought about. If
he did, but it wasn't directed to me, and I kind of passed it off to Ron
It's fine, I mean,
to talk, and honestly, I don't know if he ever called him back. I forgot to check up and make sure that he did.
I just told him to give a call and that, you know. He's always different places in the country, so, in this world, actually, so it's.
Ron's the one that gets the involvement with Butler Fairman when there's any talk about route and everything. I'm not really,
Yeah. I'm assuming they're still coming up Titmont's way. Is that where they're still gonna run the line from, the, Woods Edge?
Just
So they will go by there no matter what, it's just a
It will.
matter of.
it will, but the last I heard, there was a question of where the Force Main part would stop, if it would be on the west side 43 or on the east side.
Oh,
And that's why I thought it made a difference to that parcel. If he was gonna make a commitment, it would have to be known that he wanted to tie in.
Maybe they have to put a. Little manhole or something
Does it
in
have
for
to
him to
be-
tie into. I'm assuming they would hopefully just generally do that, cause then you would basically make that parcel. As if it
Well,
was,
see, if they put it on the east side, it wouldn't be accessible to him.
Yeah.
You'd have to turn over to it.
yeah.
Oh, that'd be tough.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
Either way, it would be better to know his final, his intention against.
Well, Tippecanoe County hasn't accepted what the city of Lafayette does with the whole gas station limitations, the ordinance. Lincoln County is not. The commissioners didn't accept that. Cause what was it, like 5,000, it was like 5,000 feet between gas stations. Basically, the city basically put it in that, I mean, unless you go to get variances.
So you can't have a speedway and a loop right side by side.
You can go get variances, like we actually had a client who. Didn't meet any of those requirements, and it was one of those things where, right in the middle, cause it kind of went. I didn't hear anything about it, and then all of a sudden. We were doing a feasibility for him to see if he could, if his site could be, he's right off of Skylar, to see if. His convenience store could just add some gas station, and I said, well, it's gonna be considered a gas station. And right in the middle of it, I saw on television, TV18, they talked about the ordinance passing. And I told him, called him, I said, hey, this just happened, so. You're gonna be SOL unless you wanna go through with, and I go, but I think you could get the variance because you could say. I'm not building a new one, I'm just adding some gas things. But he didn't proceed with that, and. He says, can you submit my civil designs and get them approved in a week and a half? And I said, absolutely not. And so he just. Didn't pay his bill and all sorts of stuff, so he just did it to try. So the city, but it doesn't apply up there. I'm assuming he would still want to, but I can make sure he follows up, or they need to call on and make sure on it. It's,
Yeah, I think it would be, good to know about that type of a tap on if that helps.
cause I mean, he's gonna do one or two things. He's either gonna try to do a gas station convenience store. Now, once again, it's like. If you remove the septic, you still have to adhere to the drainage ordinance. You want to do underground detention.
Yeah.
Cause I wouldn't store any water. There's no place big enough pond to put there, and then.
No,
we
he'd
have
be
to have a
under the whole
well,
parking lot.
if you have water there too, I mean,
Well,
then it's a little bit more.
yeah, what's the distance have to be between that and gas storage tanks?
Well, actually, those gas tanks are pretty. I mean, we designed quite a few.
They don't have any kind of a
Not really, they're pretty,
regulation on distances on that type of.
no, we got wells and septics that go right by them.
Wow.
I think that one in Clarksville, 52 and 28. That's, yeah, so, all right, well,
Are they fiberglass?
yeah, they're
They're no longer metal.
they're not metal, they're fiberglass, and then a lot of times what they call a 12, like a $24,000 gallon tank, and they'll do a 12 and a 12 that has a black, like a separator in it, so they can put half of diesel and half of whatever, and so, yeah. So I'll make sure I mention to him. Make sure that they're communicating between Ron and him.
Andrew, can you give us on town council and your idea about a new building?
Sure. Recently I was made aware that 103 North Railroad Street was gonna be up for auction, and I encouraged the council members to walk through and determine if there was anything about that property that was advantageous to them for a town hall, because they still haven't made a decision where would be the best place to locate a town hall. Would it be reworking this site, choosing another site in the historic area, or going out on the commercial property and building something new from the ground up? And a couple people did go through the 103. It would not be an easy lift to make that into an accessible, useful on the second floor. I mean, there are very specific things you could do there to make it useful, but they just did not see that going forward and released that one as an option. Talked about it. What is their vision for the town? Pretty much 4 out of 5 are committed to building new in the commercial area, which fits with a potential, a way to potentially use the deed restricted area or a park or some other kind of easy on the eye use and put town hall up there. I was talking to Todd a minute about town hall location, and the place where I had thought would be the best for town hall. He said probably isn't, because it's low. It would take a lot of site plan. So if we were following the thought of the town council saying, yeah, let's get behind putting a new town hall up at the Tecumseh land site and get that opened up for development, we could conceivably have a park that runs from 600, the length of the Bittersweet Drive, the Quail Ridge adjoining, but a town hall at the other end where it's highest and probably most easily visible coming in off of Northgate. And I asked, after they said that, and it's committed in the minutes, I asked Butler Fairman if they would do a high level pricing for a roundabout, because if the town would take the expense of extending Northgate to the center,
Yeah.
and making a roundabout with some stubs and then giving ourselves an access to a town hall and a parking lot in the park, then other developers coming in could, attach on, and that part would be done. They could drive in, look around and go, oh yeah, I can see my building here. So I have no idea yet, but they're working on it for me. In the next week or two, I'll get something.
Yeah, I'll have some. I was trying to get something drawn for today, but this last week got with classes got a little bit more heavier. I'm teaching another class, so I didn't know I was gonna add another. I'm doing job site management and surveying over there, so it was
It's showing a lot of people the original
Yeah.
plan over here, but it still has the townhomes on there, and we wanted to swap those out for something else. And
I'm gonna draw something up that shows that what a park would look like. I'm gonna get some general, what a parking lot would look like, and just kind of add some trails and kind of show the berm area, and just to make sure it would fill that area with some.
Well, I still think that could be some of the retention pond area with the park. I mean,
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you could have a wet
it's gonna have
pond
to be
and,
somewhere.
well, and it creates extra
I mean,
dirt.
They're gonna I mean, that, they can move earth, do whatever they want. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, I mean, that's,
Cause I know I received several emails from Stephen Field about, he couldn't remember what we discussed at the meeting we had. So I sent him like a long-winded, exactly what both sides, just to say, hey, this is, their concern was drainage in their backyards was the big thing on their end. And I said, I think everything else, no one wants pine trees as the buffer. I think the administrative officer who could be it's that Bill, what's his name, Robinette or whatever, the new county building commissioner. He's the administrative officer, Bill. Robinette. He was an inspector for the city, and now he took over for Wolf, but he's the administrative officer who can okay a buffer yard. So I think we can do something that's prettier than what their normal buffer yard is. Especially if Quail Ridge signs off on it, because it'd be different, So the key would be draining doing everything to drain their backyards, do some buffering. And if the town hall is going there, I think those are all pretty easy, but town hall going there requires Tecumseh Land Corp to part ways with it without wanting top dollar for it, I would say, in that area. And then I actually had an email last week after I had sent that out, and it's been a little bit. Eric Burns reached out to me and Steve and wanted to have a phone conversation, so I guess next week. To see what they would want to say in an updated version of the covenants with them. I don't know if anybody was aware of that or not, but it came out of left field to me. And I was looking at my,
Well, they wanted him to do it, and it's like, you're the only one that can do it right.
no, it was
That
just,
was ridiculous to them.
well, so I don't know what, so I don't know if it's coming from the quill, I don't even know. I know Eric's the attorney for
Yeah.
both, for the town and, but somehow. He's in it because, and I guess it's,
But Horner said directly, well. Eric could just write all that up, and it's like, no, Eric can't write that.
well, it sounds like we're having a conversation to tell him what I had emailed Steve. And him about all the things that I think need the generalities. I mean, there's some fine points to see if they change their mind. Because after you open up Pandora's box, is there another warrant? But I felt like it was a fairly easy. The restriction encumbers it. But there's something that can be done to help relieve their minds for the most part. But he wants to have a half-hour conversation with me and Steve about it, so I'm like, well. Time's fine, but I don't know how if that moves the needle much or not.
Mhm.
But. I guess we'll see who Eric's
Turn
building.
it to a bill and we'll pay for it.
I'm sure, we'll see what who's Eric's building for that, but I mean, it makes sense, he's representing both sides, I guess, as long as both sides agree that that's
Well,
fine.
your clock should be running at the same time, so
Yeah.
you can bill him.
And what you do for the community, so I'm not too worried about it, we'll figure. I wanna make sure the attorneys get it right.
Both
what
those
they
guys
want.
are getting paid, so you might as well get paid.
Eventually, they'll,
Well,
they sell that.
the significant part is the town council's starting to figure out that that's the best option for them.
Well, I mean, and I understand, I mean, my dad grew up in Salem, Indiana, and everybody in these little towns loves it being in the center of town and. This isn't your typical square. You don't have a square where
Yeah.
everybody, I mean, these little towns have these little boxy things, everybody goes around it. And it's just not, I know a lot of
It's
people.
never gonna be that.
It's never gonna be that, because there's just
No.
there's not enough parking, there's not enough. Place to do it, so it makes sense to have it go up there, but like you said, you need town council on board, you need people to say, yeah, that's a nice place for it, and. So. So yeah, I'll get that draft, it's not gonna take me long, I got one more trip over on campus tomorrow, and then, I'll get something sketched up so you all can see it, and just. It'll be very. It'll probably look better than I'm thinking about it in my mind, but it'll give you an idea of. The spacing of what it would look like. I'll probably just take that northeast part here. And see what it would look like with some idea of a pond,
Yeah.
trails, town, it can be rearranged, but just so you can visibly see. What type of parking you would need for townhouse, for the
Good.
town hall.
Yeah.
Just cause until you see it, like playground stuff. It's amazing how much room they take up. But you could, needle them in there, so. So if people come to town hall, or you could have a little pocket right in front of it with some play areas, and you can move it further down.
Have a plan, we can start getting people to put some money behind it and.
Well, that's the key, once you see it, you go, hey, I mean, that's the thing, it's like, what else could go elsewhere, similar to that, but then. Where everybody has the concern with the Quail Ridge, they can start moving their mind, say, that'd be. But that's when you can then look at the owners and say. This will get you some movement, this will get you, the restriction removed, which.
Yeah.
Cause it's not free, I mean, you have to bend the knee, you have to. Meet them halfway to get them what they want, or they'll just say. I'm not signing it, and if they don't, then you're just held to that.
Well, I don't know legally if there's, part of that, we've had the conversation. If it's. A donation, I don't know if it can be a donation to the town. Or a substantially different price. And be something that helps defer their taxes.
I'm sure there is a way to donate to,
You know, I mean, because they're gonna pay taxes, and so
yeah.
if that can be deferred and help us.
Yeah, I agree. So I think next Tuesday or something, I have a conversation with both of them. But I guess it gets a backbone in of what both sides would want, but, I don't know if that's necessary, because I do still think we need to meet with Quail Ridge people to show them. The question is, if you show them a drawing that shows the town hall and that doesn't come to fruition, does that impact them? Because they probably love the idea of the town hall there, because then they know the faces of people who they can go see if they're starting not being taken care of or something. But I'll get that sketched up and to everybody, and then I'll have that conversation next week, but then we probably should follow up fairly soon with people from Quail Ridge.
Yep.
And
Just
just say
meet
this,
at the fire station to get in,
yeah,
go over it, we
Yeah.
can make it happen.
yeah, that would be great. Is there some people that weren't able to make it come back, or weren't able, or they could show up, and those that were there could say, hey, we're trying to do everything we can to do that, and then hopefully between Steve and all the owners of Central Land Corp, they can see that the path forward is kind of in the middle, what we've discussed. They had talked about putting a gate over there, didn't they, on North Gate?
Yeah, it's not there.
It's not there.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm just saying, before we have this, I'm almost saying, before we have that meeting, I think that gate needs to go up.
Now they're double bold because they don't just park their trucks there and rest for a while, they drop their trailers there and leave
And so I do think that before
On
that,
their property?
on our street.
Yeah, on the,
and there's something they said they could do, but no one knows exactly.
Well,
what
that's
one.
because, is that because they're losing the across the street? Or did that start before?
It started before that,
It's the first time I noticed
we,
it with the list.
I've never seen the trailer sitting there until the other day.
What was the name on that?
Columbia,
Columbia?
yeah.
I thought it started with the W, but I didn't take picture of it.
Cause I know that the one that had the biggest it didn't have to do with really anything other than maybe some drainage in the back, but it was the lights from a truck that was parked there.
Yeah.
So I'm almost thinking that before we have that meeting, it'd be nice if that gate kind of went in, cause we're gonna hear from Matt about that again. Cause they talked
But
about.
they're the only ones that can do it, we can't do it.
Correct. We can recommend, because that's what's gonna sour him really bad on him. Cause he's gonna be like, well, I thought we were gonna,
Yeah.
not us.
Well, we've already heard that before, but
Yeah,
talking, he doesn't get any response.
yeah. Well, there's only so much people can do, so at some point, someone actually has to. You wanna sell something, you have to do something, and if you want something from somebody, you gotta make them happy.
I'll go put a chain up there, take some T-posts.
That's right. No,
Smoke sticks.
Yeah,
is there anything else on that? Is there any rumors about the hotels? Are we still at the same part with the hotels on the west side, just kind of?
no,
No,
The last thing I heard was that it's not conducive to building hotels right now. It's not conducive to building apartments, apparently. I had a guy out. No, it was Greg Martz, somebody recommended to me a company called Ironman that works in Delphi.
Well, they've got a bunch of down on 38. They've
And
got several properties.
he was,
Joe's a member of Faith Church.
he was
Local.
looking at he just said, well, that's not our thing is infill. Taking an old frame and fitting it out on the inside and making it do something, so he politely declined, but thought
No, he wanted 100% of the tip.
Yeah, he just said it's not, to make it pencil, they have to have some community involvement with the TIF.
So let everybody know how my discussion goes next week. That should be fairly,
We appreciate it.
it would be. Is there any finalization of what Wood Edge is donating or giving to the cause of the,
Yeah,
and that
that's
finally?
close.
I don't think that they're balking on the how much, it's just the when and the how.
I know they keep putting newer trailers in.
Yeah. But they're settled on the line through Horseman and through West Falls.
Yeah, the only question was when it got to the
South end.
the east-west between Horseman and Tip Point.
Georgia did a good job with Horseman and getting those guys on board. That worked out real nice.
Yeah. It's different now without a golf course being
Like I'm in a hospital room.
there. I know, it's like the
It
beef.
feels like that.
Are you
I'm like,
guys- Oh, the beef.
the beef, I was like, you're in a hospital room with somebody, it's like.
Yeah, I'll get somebody to fix it.
A special battery, I'm assuming.
Just can plug it in with a C charger.
I'm afraid to do it without an EMS person because I don't wanna.
Black.
The alarm goes off, we're in trouble.
Those are expensive.
I don't know if there's anything else going on.
Should we set a date for the next meeting?
Yeah,
How soon or how far?
well, I would almost say that there might be a conversation or a meeting with the Quail Ridge before. Sooner than later, is what I would think. So I,
You're getting into the holiday weekend in May.
Yeah.
Right.
so it's like the 25th, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah, 25th.
what's the week of the 18th look like if we tried to do something with Bittersweet?
Fine for me.
Yeah, I don't see much going on that week.
18th of May,
Pardon me?
18th of May.
Yeah,
I'm open.
no, I can't do the 18th. Because I can't use the fire station on Monday night.
It could be the 19th, maybe. Maybe that.
Well, I mean, do we need to try to make contact with the residents that haven't been there and find out
What their availability is.
and work around them if we have to?
But look at that third week of May.
The
Yeah.
one that didn't come, I'm not sure that there is a good time for them because they work opposite shifts. So you'd have to have it before 5 in the afternoon. to Catch them. Because they have kids and they have to get them. That was the thing, it's like I can't come because I got kids and I have to have them in bed.
That was different than the couple that had the young daughter with them.
Yeah,
It's a different-
Cause they didn't come at all.
Mm. Well, you would think if get satisfy enough of them,
Yeah.
they could say, hey, they're really trying to do something for you.
Yeah, we could take our documentation to them and one-on-one with anybody that couldn't make the general meeting. Gonna have to do it to the convenience of the presenters as well.
So Quail Ridge. Okay, so then we,
pencil in the 19th at the fire station.
For the quail,
And-
for Quail
yeah.
Ridge, so.
And then. The 29th of June for an official meeting,
Roughly what time on the 19th would we?
whenever you
And
want.
on June 29th, you'll be out of state.
Oh. Sorry. Okay, then how about the 22nd?
That works for me.
That's June.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I don't have anything on my calendar. But that'll be the redevelopment.
That is actually the fourth Monday, so that works out great.
(6:30) on the calendar.
We have a motion to adjourn.
I have a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor, aye,
Uh,
passes. Thank you.
And the May 19th for the tentative
Yeah,
meeting there, okay.
yeah.
it's too noisy on Monday night because we have work night
Sure.
and.
Hmm.